The C++ standard library provides functions for formatted character output. So for example, we have this unformatted output here with this puts, and when I build and run this, it simply displays a string on the console. If I want formatted output, then I need to use printf instead. And so I'm going to delete this and declare, say, an integer and say a long integer and a string. And now I'm going to use printf to display all of those in a formatted way. So I'm going to say printf. And notice the function signature here. It asks for constant character pointer. So that's a string. That's called the format string. Then there's a comma and an ellipsis. So that ellipsis means that this is a variadic function. And we talked about those earlier in the chapter on functions. So that means that it can take 0 or more arguments after that first one. So I'm going to go ahead and type the format string, and it'll say I is, and a %d. This %d is called a format specifier, and that indicates that this is going to be an integer. And li is, and %ld for a long integer, and s is %s for a string. And then I'm going to put in a new line, and I, li, and s. And each of these arguments must be in exactly the same order as their corresponding format specifiers in the format string. This first string is called the format string. And printf writes to the standard output. So it'll show up on our console here. When I build and run, there's our output. I is 47, li is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and s is, this is a string. So printf by itself like that prints to the standard output stream. If we want to specify a different stream, we can use fprintf like that. And then the first argument before the format string is the output stream. So I can say standard out like that, and a comma, and then my format string, and it'll do exactly the same thing. I'll build and run, and we get the same result. But normally this is used for writing to a file. And so instead here, I will open a file. There's our file handle, equals fopen, and I'll just call it file.txt. And open it for write, and this is a text file, so I don't need the B. And then I'll put the FH here, and I'll close it like this. And now when I build and run, my console will go away because I'm not using it anymore. And instead, we're going to find this output in a file in the file system. And the file is going to be in the same directory as our output. So if you're on a PC, you've already got that open because you're using the command string to run your program. So it'll be right there in the same directory as your output. On a Mac here, it's a little harder to find. If you come down here to products and you right click on this, you see it show in Finder, and that'll bring up this Finder window in the right directory. And so then you can open the file.txt, and I'm going to open this with Text Wrangler, my little text editor here. And you can see there's our formatted output exactly as we had seen it on the console earlier. So it's writing it to this file instead of to the console because right here we're specifying this file handle of an open file that's open for write. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete that file. Now there's another version of printf called sprintf or snprintf. We're going to use the sn version. And you notice its first argument is a character pointer. And so we're going to create a buffer here. So I'm creating a constant for the maximum length of the output, and I'm going to declare a character buffer of that size. And then this first argument to snprintf is going to be that buffer, and the second argument is the size of the buffer. So there's another version of snprintf without the n called sprintf, and it does not take the maximum length version. And don't ever use that version because it's insecure and it's possible to overwrite that buffer. This gives you this control SNPrintf will not write more than this number of bytes to your buffer. And then we have the format string. And now I can just use puts to put that buffer out to the console so we can see it. But obviously you could use this character string for a lot of things. You could put it in a database. You can do all kinds of things with it besides displaying it on the console once you have that character string. And so now I'm going to build and run, and we see there's our output from that buffer. Now you notice these format specifiers here. The printf format string has a tremendous number of options for those format specifiers. I'm going to show you a slide with just a few of them. These are just the most common ones. There's D for an integer number, and you can use LD for a long integer, or LLD for a long integer. You can use F for a floating point number, or LF for a double. %S for a C string, %C for a character, %P for a pointer, and if you just need the percent character, you can say %%. The printf function provides a great number of format specifiers for a vast array of different circumstances. This is a very small subset of the most common and useful specifiers. Any good C or C++ reference will have a more complete listing, or you can just type printf format string in any search engine and get some good references on that. The printf family of functions provides a simple method of formatting strings for output to the console, other strings, or files.